CTV News with Carlisle Fizette.
Economically, we have such power over Canada. I'd rather not use it, but they did something with our tech companies today trying to copy Europe. You know, they copied Europe. It's not going to work out well for Europe either, and it's not going to work out well for Canada.
A new tech tax appears to have earned the president's ire, abruptly terminating trade talks with Canada. And Donald Trump says his team is ready to set a new tariff toll. Good evening. Carlisle is off. I'm Ricardo Vanessa. We'll have more on the latest trade turn from the Trump White House in just a moment. But first to a homicide investigation in Strathroy tonight that has rocked a residential neighborhood in the town. Strathroy Caradoc police were called to Ashby Crescent just after 5 this evening following an altercation between two men. Officers say a man was found with stab wounds when they arrived. Police say the 27-year-old later died of his injuries. A 25-year-old man is in police custody. OPP Major Crimes and Sarnia Forensics units are assisting in that investigation.
We aren't sure at this time exactly what the relationship was between those two individuals. We're still investigating. The OPP Major Crime Unit, as well as the Sarnia Police Forensic Investigation Section, is attending to give us a hand. This just occurred in the last couple hours, so charges will be, we will be looking at charges pending in the future.
It is a developing story, and we will continue to track that and follow up and have the very latest when we can. In Sarnia, police say they've charged a woman who allegedly reached for a knife when confronted by officers. Police released this surveillance video, which they say shows the arrest yesterday at a gas station. Officers report approaching the woman, believing she had stolen a shopping cart. They say the woman told them she had a weapon and was going to use it. Police say they found a large knife in her backpack. Police say she was also wanted on an outstanding warrant by London police. Meantime, police say they are looking for a federal offender who may be in London. Kenneth Andrew Carruthers is wanted for breaching his release conditions. The 48-year-old is described as a white man, about 5'11", 190 pounds, with several tattoos. Police say he may also be in Sarnia. In court now, there was a battle between the troubled reptile zoo at Westmount Mall and its landlord over a rent dispute. CTV's Daryl Newcomb brings us the details and the concerns from animal rights advocates.
The claws are out in a legal dispute over Reptilia's 20-year lease at Westmount Shopping Centre. A statement of claim filed by the mall against the reptile zoo in February alleges, quote, the tenant failed to pay the full rent to the landlord for the months of October, November, and December 2024, as well as January and February 2025. The lawsuit seeks rent arrears and a payment from a minutes of settlement totaling just over $250,000. However, in its statement of defense filed June 20th, Reptilia rejects the allegations made by the mall. It points to a lengthy legal dispute with the City of London about whether the provincially licensed reptile zoo is subject to London's animal control bylaw that forbids displaying exotic species. Reptilia argues its lease includes a clause that, quote, in the event that the City of London or any other authority having jurisdiction requires any amendments to the zoning bylaw or regulations to permit the tenant's use set out in this section 9.01A of this lease, the landlord shall be responsible at its sole cost and expense. Reptilia goes on to say in its statement of defense that it's experienced financial consequences and therefore it's launching a countersuit against the mall. Reptilia is seeking $1.275 million for negligent misrepresentation and breach of contract, citing, quote, significant media attention which negatively impacted Reptilia London's operations, including the number of visitors to its facilities. ZooCheck Canada says the legal documents are cause for further concern among animal welfare advocates.
Our biggest concern is the animals that are located at that facility. Obviously, that's a great concern to us whenever we start hearing that there's these ongoing battles in court and assertions that the finances just aren't there.
Reptilia continues to operate inside the mall. The operator of Westmount Shopping Centre has not yet responded to CTV News. Allegations made in the statement of claim, statement of defense, and counterclaim have not been tested in court. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Now to the latest economic headwinds coming from south of the border. Donald Trump announced today he's walking away from negotiations with Canada. As CTV's Judy Trin reports, Trump's coziness with American tech leaders may be impacting negotiations.
As the Prime Minister was hosting a virtual meeting to update his cabinet on U.S. trade negotiations, the President dropped a bombshell. On social media, Trump said because of Canada's digital services tax on American technology companies, he's terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately.
We have all the cards. We have every single one. We don't want to do anything bad, but they have, economically, we have such power over Canada.
Speaking to CTV News after the Trump announcement, the Foreign Affairs Minister says the government is committed to continuing talks.
We will seek to have these unjustified tariffs removed. And that is the reason why we, because of the complexity of the negotiations, will not be having that conversation in public.
Tech companies that have revenues of more than $20 million, like Google, Meta, and Airbnb, are subject to the 3% digital sales tax. The first payment is due Monday. It's unclear if the Prime Minister knew this was coming, but in Brussels earlier this week, Carney spoke more cautiously about the progress of trade talks.
We'll do what's right for Canada. We're working hard to get a deal, but we'll only accept the right deal with the United States. The right deal is possible, but it's nothing's assured.
Over the past several years, both the Biden administration and Trump have called the digital tax discriminatory against American companies. This former deputy prime minister says the tax can be scrapped to save negotiations.
I think the digital services tax is expendable in the context of getting a trade negotiation settled with the United States. But I don't think that if you've got something in a negotiation that you're willing to give up, you don't offer that off the top.
For months, the government has been trying to get punishing U.S. tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos removed and stave off future duties. Now Trump says he will tell Canada, along with other countries, what tariff rate it will pay. The Parliamentary Budget Officer estimates that the federal government would get more than $7 billion over 5 years with the digital services tax. Analysts say it's unlikely Donald Trump will return to the negotiating table without the removal or pause of this tax. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Okay, a little closer to home, there are now 2 open seats on the London Police Services Board. Megan Walker was appointed by the province for a 3-year term in 2022. Now, that expired earlier this year, and she says the province chose not to extend it. The other board vacancy was created when the former chair resigned earlier this year. Walker was the executive director of the London Abused Women's Centre for nearly 25 years.
Well, so everybody brings to the board their own strengths and skills and backgrounds. And my background clearly is in ending male violence against women and legislating femicide. And so I was able to bring that to the table. Those issues were addressed and accepted by the board as positions that we would move forward on. And so that was pretty exciting.
Now let's go to Wheatley, where officials continue to investigate a gas leak in the town that led to a temporary evacuation order. It was an unwelcome reminder of the 2021 explosion in the town and the long recovery that followed. But the Chatham-Kent mayor is trying to calm concerns about investing in the community after the latest scare.
As the minister mentioned, they spent $50 million in the province to make this area safe. So what about the areas that they know there's wells, but there's been no work done? So I'd argue just the opposite, that it's much safer. We have monitoring wells. We understand the area. So I'm quite confident as we move forward that this is a great place to locate.
Officials are focusing on an old water well and continue to probe the area around it after that investigation was launched yesterday afternoon. As our Bob Bellochico tells us, some residents are breathing a sigh of relief today, but questions still remain.
If they smell gas, call 911.
That's exactly what residents did Thursday, triggering emergency procedures born from 2021's devastating explosion on Erie Street in Wheatley. Residents on Foster Street were told to leave their homes after a business owner said he smelled gas and saw something bubbling out of the sewer behind the library.
We were able to monitor the gas at source, which showed that we had quite high concentrations of hydrogen sulfide. but we're also able to utilize our new equipment.
A machine with a gas monitor drove around the area, ensuring the gas wasn't traveling any further. Chatham-Kent Fire Chief Chris Case says evacuation protocols were implemented and about 30 homes, including Becky and Bugsy Lamb, were evacuated, giving them flashbacks of being out of their home for almost 2 years following the 2021 explosion. But thankfully, the evacuation only lasted a night.
We just had a team of wonderful people show up to the house here and help get us through all this. I'm explaining what's going on as far as they know right now.
The gas flowed from the ground for about 4 hours after the initial early afternoon calls.
We're continuing to monitor. There's been no indication of anything outside of a very small perimeter that's maybe 2 feet since what time? It was about 7 o'clock last night.
Residents were allowed to return to their homes after 1 a.m.
Some homes were checked by firefighters for the presence of gas to make sure that it was safe, and none was found.
Teresa Watson, an engineer consultant familiar with the 2021 explosion, flew in and feels confident the source of the leak has been discovered.
There's more investigation to do, but right now from the historical record checking that I've done, it appears that there was a water well there back in the 1930s.
A stack has been installed to allow the gas to escape and not build up. The area will continue to be monitored into next week.
We'll probably bring in a water well driller to properly abandon that water well. That's, of course, making sure it's confirmed that that is actually what it is.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
The Western Fair Agriplex has a new name and corporate sponsor.
We would like to welcome you to the new JR Expo Center.
A local construction company bought the naming rights for a 10-year term. The announcement was made at an event on site late this afternoon. Now, neither side disclosed just how much the naming rights actually cost over that deal.
In addition to the big equipment you see in this room, we hope to see a lot more of it. This venue has hosted many events throughout the year. We're looking to bring more in and really solidify southwestern Ontario as the event center, so people don't always have to go to the GTA.
We hope to expand on the agricultural foundation and bringing in other industries, especially construction. We think there's a huge opportunity to bring our construction community from west of Toronto into a facility that is not currently available outside of Toronto.
Well, Tourism London officials say years of work went into their bid for a pair of major Canadian athletic events. Western's Alumni Stadium will host 2 national track and field championships before the next Summer Olympics. CTV's Jerry Dewan has more on the preparations.
It's hard to find a time when athletes aren't working out at Western Alumni Stadium.
I've trained here since I was like 7 years old, so it's like ideal for me.
Last year, Chloe Knox won gold in the U Sports track and field competition and bronze in the Canadian Track and Field Championships. She's recovering from injury this year, but wants the chance to compete in her hometown.
My goal moving forward would be to finish on the podium for the next couple Canadian championships.
Western, in partnership with Tourism London and the London Western Track and Field Club, will host the Canadian Track and Field Championships in August of 2027 and the Bell Track and Field Trials in June of 2028.
The biggest events that Athletics Canada has, and we're so fortunate to work with them and all of our partners around the city to really showcase our community.
Like a track athlete getting in shape for a major competition, Western University has been getting Alumni Stadium in shape for these championships.
It makes it a fantastic facility, right for the smallest track and field incoming athlete in the clubs here to an Olympian like Alicia Newman and Damian Warner.
The track, the field, the grandstands, stadium lighting, scoreboard, and sound systems have all been or will be upgraded, all to ensure facilities retain certification from track and field's governing bodies.
We have to adhere to the standards. So the lines were painted by an IAAF certified line painter brought in from Europe to paint the lines for us.
Time set at the events here in London can be used as qualifying times for international events. And Christine Stapleton says the word is already out. This is a fast track. That effort is giving local athletes a special opportunity.
I've grown up in London. We'd always have to travel to meet, so it's nice to have these big events here for us to just kind of showcase without having to go far.
Morgan Reevy says the announcement had an immediate impact.
That kind of lit a fire under everyone's butt to just really keep everything in gear and
to just get there, be healthy, and be ready to go.
We're hoping that an event like this can create that legacy for the next generation to see these athletes firsthand, grow our community sport groups, grow the sport.
Jarvis is hoping London will now be put in the rotation of cities to host major track events. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
We're not thinking about ourselves anymore. We're thinking about everyone in our community.
Still ahead on CTV News, our Sean Irvine shows us why this Port Dover man is spiking across the country. Well, let's take a look at the markets where Donald Trump's decision to pull out of trade talks with Canada affected the TSX today. As you can see there, down 60 points, the Dow up 432, the Nasdaq climbing 106 points. Now, the Canadian dollar also falling today to rest, still above 73 cents U.S., gold down more than $60 an ounce, and oil again inching up another 28 cents a barrel. Well, the province's education minister says the government is taking control of more school boards, including some of the largest in Ontario. And as CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris tells us, further changes are under consideration.
The education minister making a big statement on the last day of the school year, taking over boards he says have been mismanaged.
Where trustees have failed, where students are being shortchanged, we will act.
Supervisors have been appointed for some of the biggest boards in the country: the Toronto District School Board, Toronto Catholic District School Board, Dufferin-Peel Catholic District School Board, and the Ottawa Carleton District School Board.
These boards have had multiple opportunities to address their structural financial issues, and time and again, they have failed to do so.
The government singles out TDSB trustees for rejecting almost half the cost-saving measures recommended to them by staff. The Dufferin-Peel Catholic Board faces
a whole host of other challenges which frankly have put it at the brink of bankruptcy, and it's time that the government steps in and puts them back on track.
Supervisors have been charged with getting boards back to balance and on sound financial footing for the long term. But Calandra continues to hint much bigger changes lie ahead.
A broader rethink of the governance structure of boards is required. This is an important first step.
Opposition parties say the real problem is not enough funding.
The government starting to pick a fight and blaming the situation in education squarely on school boards. I don't think that's balanced or reasonable.
Picking at the appointment of Conservative insiders.
It's not going to make any difference to have a supervisor in there, especially not one with no experience in education, if the government isn't just going to fill that funding gap and make sure that the money is there to provide the supports that our kids need.
At the very end of his announcement, Calandra added that he's directed his ministry
to pause for 1 year any changes to the curriculum so that a more central, more consistent curriculum can be brought forward.
That includes a planned overhaul of the kindergarten program, mandatory learning on the Holocaust and Black Canadian history. Educators are welcoming the delay. The incoming president of the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation writing in part, a pause in the curriculum rollout is the right move. The process has been rushed with little meaningful consultation with the teachers and education workers expected to deliver it. OSSTF is looking to work with the government to get this right. The goal is to have that curriculum ready for the 2026-27 school year. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Kicking off the weekend with a bang of severe thunderstorms moving through southern Ontario this evening. As we head through the overnight, conditions will start to calm down, but we still have the risk for some storm action over the next couple of hours. This line of storms in advance of a cold front. There's been torrential downpours and some damaging wind gusts. Overnight temperatures hold on the warm and muggy side, but heading into tomorrow, the winds will be shifting northwest. That will help usher in some drier air, so the humidity levels will start to drop by late tomorrow. I'll take you through all your local forecast details coming up in just a few minutes.
CTV meteorologist Julie Atchison joining us now for a check of the forecast. And Julie, we're tracking some stormy weather to bring us into the weekend.
Yeah, we have a cold front that's been approaching, and we've had severe thunderstorms firing in advance of that front. As we push past midnight, the chance for thunderstorms will start to drop off, but we still have the risk for storms. Now, there have been torrential downpours, damaging wind gusts, and intense lightning associated with these thunderstorms that have been moving through, coming into a very volatile air mass. As a cold front comes into an air mass that's this hot and humid, you're bound to see some severe weather. So in terms of our high today, 29 degrees, but it felt close to 40 this afternoon. Our low temperature 19, and we will stay on the warm side overnight. Temperatures in Midwestern Ontario dipping down between 16 and 19 degrees, 20 to 21 towards London, Kitchener, Waterloo. So this front has been approaching the area. The front itself will cross as we head into tomorrow, so it will take its time, and that's why we've left in a slight risk for showers first thing in the morning. But as we go through the overnight, the rainfall and showers will push eastward. You can still see towards Haldimand and in and around Norfolk and Toronto still by 2 a.m. So this line is associated out ahead of the frontal boundary. Through the day tomorrow, the winds will shift to the northwest by the afternoon. So that will leave these lakeshore communities along Huron a bit cooler. So that wind coming off the lake this time of year when we get that northerly flow keeps things a bit more fresh. So if you are heading from London to one of those communities, it will be much warmer in the city than it is near the lake, and especially with that cool down coming. So as we head out 48 hours, we are expecting an absolutely gorgeous day by Saturday afternoon. Back into a mix of sun and cloud, and Sunday wall-to-wall sunshine looking absolutely gorgeous. Our backdrop for your Saturday forecast, Port Stanley. I'm sure it will be rocking with lots of people out enjoying the day at 26 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. So you can note that wind shift as we head into the afternoon. So our East Park forecast opening up for the season today, and so the weekend I'm sure will be some water park fun happening. 26 degrees, we'll hit 29 on Sunday, mainly sunny, beautiful. We have some showers in the forecast on Monday. This is a warm front coming in, so it looks to spark some light rainfall, higher humidity expected. Canada Day, chance for showers first thing in the morning, but we break into a mix of sun and cloud, so looking dry for all of those late day festivities that are going on. As we head into Wednesday, mainly sunny and 28, and that's where we'll hold Thursday into Friday. Daytime highs into the upper 20s with the overnight lows dipping down to 16. Perfect conditions. I know many of you perhaps have some holidays planned. You have some great weather and you picked a great week. As we head into Midwestern Ontario, it will be quite cool as we look toward Wyerton. So the Bruce Peninsula tomorrow on the cooler side with temperatures just approaching the upper teens. So expect as further south you go, the warmer it's going to get. The weekend, we will have a few showers first thing in the morning, but a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon. Lots of sunshine on Sunday. A few showers coming in on Monday as the air mass changes and becomes increasingly humid. And then on Tuesday, could see a light rain shower in the morning, but breaking back into a mix of sun and cloud for Canada Day. Have a safe and wonderful weekend, and happy Canada Day.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, I'll take that forecast any day of the week. Well, as we move into the heart and heat of summer, Canadian Blood Services officials are expecting a cool down in donors. As Arita Ismail tells us, that has officials calling for anyone willing to roll up their sleeve come out because donations may drop, but the demand does not.
With the Canada Day long weekend just around the corner, Canadian Blood Services is putting out a call. They need donors now.
A huge need for donors during the summer months. We find that donors are busy with vacations, enjoying family time with nice weather.
The need doesn't stop for holidays, and neither do donor clinics, including in London, where appointments are available throughout the weekend. And for first-timers, staff say the process is simple.
When you come in to donate, make sure you bring a physical piece of government-issued ID, be well hydrated, have eaten, and have a good night's sleep. And the rest leave to us, and we'll walk you through the entire process.
For many, donating blood is more than a good deed. It's a routine with personal meaning.
I come to give blood because it makes me feel good, and over the years, members of my family and some friends needed blood transfusions, so it's important to me to donate.
Easy, fast, and they are so welcoming and heartwarming, and I love coming here every once in a while.
I have a blood condition called hemochromatosis, which is basically just too much iron in my blood, and so I give regularly. Brings my iron level down, and it's good for the blood center.
And then there are people like Bob, who's been rolling up his sleeves for decades.
I've been donating now every week for 30 years. Started as a competition with a friend to try and catch him. He had more donations, and I caught him. I got him.
Canadian Blood Services say 3/4 of donors see giving blood as part of their Canadian identity, a small act with life-saving power. To learn more about how you can donate, head over to blood.ca. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Well, welcome back. Finally for us tonight, we'll leave you this next story. A Port Dover father getting ready for a cross-country trip of a lifetime. He's biking in honor of his late son and raising money for hospice along the way. Our Sean Irvin brings us that story tonight.
It will soon be 1 year since 8-year-old Luke Johnson lost his battle with brain cancer. The Port Dover boy had been active throughout his short life, even running a 3-kilometer race just before entering hospice. The picture from that day is now tattooed on his father's arm.
And he was strong. He persevered in the midst of this terribleness of cancer in his brain.
Dan Johnson will carry his son with him as he prepares to cycle between Vancouver and Port Dover in Luke's memory. He'll also raise funds for a new hospice in Norfolk County.
We're not thinking about ourselves anymore. We're thinking about everyone in our community that could be a phone call away from something like this.
Now, if all goes according to plan, the Live Like Luke Canada Crossing will depart the West Coast and arrive in Port Dover 53 days later on August 23rd. Through the support of a long list of sponsors, the Live Like Luke Canada Crossing has been fully funded and has already raised nearly $20,000. The support includes an extensive social media campaign featuring daily videos of the ride on social media channels and the Live Like Luke Johnson website. The goal is for each family in the area to donate $50. Luke's siblings believe it is achievable. They point to the comfort the family received at a Brantford hospice during their brother's final days.
It was so much more calm, and it wasn't so chaotic as the hospital was.
1 year later, as the family prepares to cross Canada together, they'll hold Luke's memory close.
We have sadness and we have good memories. And so, yeah, it's an ongoing journey of grief. It's never going to end.
But through their faith, they believe they'll realize Luke's dream of achieving a legacy just like his hero, Terry Fox, did.
Luke will get across Canada with the help of his dad on a bike, the help of his family, and a whole community behind saying, "Go, Luke, go," and live like Luke.
In Norfolk County, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Well, what a great way to carry on Luke's memory. That is our time this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you again on Monday. Until then, I'm Ricardo Vanessa, and for everyone here at CTV on both sides of the camera, have a great night.